I don't think people realize that we just sit around all the time and like, can you believe this shit?
Can you fucking believe it?
I can't believe this shit.
Growing up here and seeing my man that lived upstairs getting killed and then my brother shot, like, you know what I'm saying? That showed me what type of world this shit is, you know what I'm saying?
You know, I mean, like I told like them. I'm from a small hood in Marcy. I come from a project. I come from nothing. Like people were very, very, very poor. That's where I came from. And to be not only a star in your neighborhood, then to be a star in the world, and then to take it even further and be international. That was the award, best international hip hop act. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's a ways, cause you know, hip hop was originated in the States. You know,
everyone who was in hip hop was familiar with like your beef with Jay-Z, right? Mm-hmm. What it was. Yeah. And then I loved how in here you talk about that beef, what it was, how it disappeared, but how you'll still get.
First of all, I apologize. That intro was not the intro that was supposed to be the intro, but hey, it is what it is. That's what happens when you do things live. It's Brian HRap B. Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. Thank you for tapping in. On a Saturday, I never do this on a Saturday. I'm a little discombobulated because I don't know what I'm doing on a Saturday, even though I do the same thing as I'm doing on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you to my parents, to Lois and John. Without them, there's no me. You'd be doing something else with your valuable time. So thank you for tapping in. It is important that you have done this. Now, with that being said, welcome aboard. This is a few minutes with HRap, where I offer information that hopefully will enhance your day, enhance your life, and put you in a better mental space so we can make life better for our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. That's the goal. That's the goal of this program. That's the goal of that's my mission in life. That's my life's work. That's my purpose, so to speak. Now, with that being said, here we are. A couple days ago, this is the problem. The wall. People always throw the wall up at black people. That's why I call it the wall. By the way, because it's Saturday, I'm off. And if you are watching this live, if you're not watching this live, you can go to www.theendofthebench.com, www.theendofthebench.com. Pay attention to this, and you'll get the Black History message and everything that includes the End of the Bench Media. You'll be able to see my work. You'll see everything that I've done. You see me and my partner Mo's work. We're doing things. We're making things grow. It's a media company, Park Bench Media, under the umbrella End of the Bench Media, and so forth and so on. Now, the wall. The wall. We always are met with a wall to climb. People say, hey, man, enough of this Juneteenth thing, enough of this Black History thing. They have what is called, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the wall. We're going to talk about the first and foremost, the alarm. We're going to talk about the alarm that has been sound. We're going to talk about Black fatigue, and we're going to talk about the change. Now, what brings us to this point, though? What brings us to this point? What brings us to this point is this. We're looking at a situation to whereas people in general in the United States of America seem to be upset with Black people attempting to liberate themselves, attempting to educate themselves, and attempting to continue the emancipation process. What we have to do is identify this. That's a problem. You have an issue with me being happy. And I keep telling you to say this, no matter how friendly you are with people on the outside of the culture, those are individuals. I'm talking about people overall. That's why you had such a mass support of Donald J. Trump, because I'm sick of them complaining. I literally had a video that I should have uploaded that shows this woman. As a matter of fact, I may upload it now because it's connected to End of the Bench Media. I am going to work on uploading it as I speak. This woman is literally saying she's tired of Black people asking for the rights as human beings. She didn't say those words, but she literally said, hey, see, this is what I'm tired of. And it shows her complaining that we're celebrating Juneteenth. Her exact words were, the Jews, they had a Holocaust, and that was more recent. So why are they complaining and the Jews aren't? And it's just, and that's in short, I'm tired of Black people complaining. And we're not complaining. We're identifying problems that are in the United States of America. Hey, we didn't write this contract called the Constitution of the United States of America. You are the people that told us freedom, justice, equality, and the pursuit of happiness. It's part of the land, the law of the land. It had you just shut your darn mouth and let us alone, we wouldn't be in this situation. But you said pursuit of happiness. You created, you and people who think like you created laws and things of that nature to upend us, stop us from being as happy as we could be. Therefore, we are going to force you to live up to those principles. And people don't like it when you hold their feet to the fire. I found a video. Now, what I want you to do, what I want you to do is this. Bring this up on the screen. And what we'll do, I'm going to share this. I know it's in the background, it's almost over talking to you, but that's what happens when you do things in real time. That's what happens when you do things in real time. I want you to hear it about it. I want you to hear this. No matter what country or continent you're from, it's a black thing.
Juneteenth is, excuse me, what's happening to the white people? They have a Black Miss America. They have a black college.
It will buffer right now, right?
They have a black month. We have. And now they have Juneteenth. Yes, I understand there was slavery, don't get me wrong. But there was also a Holocaust, and that was more recent than slavery. But you don't hear the Jews saying, gimme, 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 gimme. What's the point of Juneteenth? What is it? I don't know.
And see, that's the problem. It's never, the problem is this. That's why it's called black fatigue. We're sick of them acting as if they're human. We're sick of, we should allow them to do what they want to do. If you don't respect us as human beings, you can't possibly come to me and give me what I ask for, give me what I request, give me anything that a human being entails. That's why you are able to hang us, set us on fire. And when you look at those pictures of lynchings and you see people looking up at someone being hung from a tree, you ever notice those people in shirts and ties? Those people, a lot of them in all white, a lot of them are smiling. That's because you do that to an animal. Because in the South, what do people do? They prepare a hog, and then they'll raise the hog, and they prepare and they'll kill it because it's a disconnect. And I'm not comparing us to animals, but they see us as animals. And if you believe that or not, that's really your choice. I'm not trying to force you to believe what I see, but the reality of the situation is this. We are being disrespected at all costs. And at this point, when you have the United States, the president of the United States coming out and saying, hey, Juneteenth is too expensive. And basically, we're not going to acknowledge them once again. Guess what? I'm the guy that don't want you to acknowledge it. I knew about Juneteenth years and years and years ago. This Juneteenth isn't new to me. Juneteenth is not new to me. And the reason I'm saying it's not new to me because I would prefer that it's something that we celebrate. I really would. I would really prefer that it's something that we celebrate because it's important to us. Anytime you have the leader of the nation, when you have Bill, even when you have people like George W. Bush, H.W. Bush from 1988 to 1992, he was saying, I'm the president of these United States. Clinton, same thing. W. Bush, same thing. Obama, same thing. And this is a guy who's done everything he can to tear away at the fabric. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. If you ask me, it's not a bad thing. Because if you are leading a nation of people who want to separate themselves from us, I need you to start separating yourself in totality, though. Don't love our rhythm and don't want to deal with our blues. It's a package deal. And see, they sound the alarm when they put that guy in office. They continue to ring the alarm when they say, hey, enough of that. And then when the president comes from the world and say, hey, the celebration of your emancipation is null and void. We don't want to do it. It's going to cost too much. And at that point, Black America, if you ask me, that was the thing that was needed because see, there's no way around it at this point. A lot of people like to dance and dance around the issues and I'm this and I'm that, and they want to bring in God and their spirituality and things of that nature, and that's okay. But at this point, when the leader, at my entire life, the president of the United States has been known as the leader of the free world, says, Your celebration is an inconvenience, not a problem. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. A lot of people say, hey, man, why are we celebrating when they gave us our freedom? That's the ass backward way to look at it. We're not celebrating when they gave us our freedom because they were getting their asses kicked up until we joined the fight. We had people from, first of all, Juneteenth and the Emancipation Proclamation only free enslaved people who had in states that had revolted, the Texases, the Mississippis, the Louisianas, the Georgias, the Florida, South Carolina. They had rescinded from the Union. They left the Union. That's what? Enslaved people in Illinois, Missouri, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, they were still enslaved. So, and then they started getting beat down to the point where they were about to lose this war, and then they started recruiting us into the Union Army. So you had the brothers who were with the Seminole tribes and the native tribes, the indigenous tribes who were fighting them with Andrew Jackson. They came north and helped them fight. They helped take over South Carolina. They helped take over the South. Those are the things that they don't tell you. So at the end of the day, we emancipated ourselves, and the law of the land followed suit because they understood that we won the situation. And that's why we're celebrating. We're celebrating finally breaking free of the chains, finally getting the opportunity to live up to our potential. So don't allow some dummy who watched the YouTube clip or some TikTok video with some dummy, another dummy giving you half the story. The real story is that Black people, as we've done since the inception of this country, have saved their bacon. When they were eating themselves, we saved them. Yes, when they were making treaties with tribes, there were tribes that looked like us right here in North America. These, before they were the United States, when they were the colonies, they made treaties, and those tribes were eradicated and erased. They got reduced and erased because then they were put in enslavement camps called plantations. So yeah, we were always at the forefront of emancipation. Don't allow some dummy to tell you, hey man, it ain't this, it ain't that. No. So we're going to celebrate us. We don't have to. It's amazing how you've accepted the fact that we use the most denigrating word in the history of the English language. We've embraced that word, but we don't want to embrace emancipation or the trampoline that springboards us to emancipation. And we named it. Nobody else named it. Didn't nobody throw it at us to denigrate us. We created a holiday, and now we figuring out ways not to support each other. This is a problem that we have coast to coast, border to border. We watch each other, like myself. It'll be people that say, man, he should fix the collar on his shirt, which I just did. It'll people say, hey, man, what was that behind him? I didn't understand this and I didn't understand that. Never hearing what I've said. And if you doubt that people do that, I have had people call me and say, hey, why did you wear that shirt? I literally gave life-saving and life-altering information. And the first thing out people's mouth is, why did you wear that shirt? I had people call me and say, hey, why did you wear that? Excuse me, why did you wear that dashiki? I'm like, excuse me. It's insane. Stop watching things to figure out what's wrong. Even if it is a glaring mistake. Say, hey, man, maybe you can help, you can fix this because I really appreciate what you said, but I was distracted by ... But people don't do that. They ridicule you, they laugh, and again, I don't want to get into that, but I want to show you how it's a lot of people talking about the wigs in Tyler Perry's movies, the way Tiana Taylor was walking. And minuscule points in regards to this. How about this? If you're dissatisfied with the products that Tyler Perry put out and you can critique it so well, how about you do exactly what he did? Read up on film, read up on development of film and projects, develop your own projects, present it to him, and then you can say, hey, help me. Hey, from what I understand, this is a guy who helps all the time. So, hey, since you're such a great critic, well, you jump in the water and swim with the big shark. But that's not what I'm here for. I want to address the fact that people don't want us to celebrate. How is it that you have a problem with us celebrating us? So these are things that I need us to pay attention to. If the president is doing, and then you have random people on the street just saying, what's that? They always want this. You literally you just saw a woman stand in front of the world with no problem and say, Juneteenth is BS. Like, hey, it didn't affect you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But you know what? You want us to celebrate on St. Patrick's Day. That's why I'm not gonna lie to you. I look at people strange when they out there for St. Patrick's Day. You got the Irish Day, Italian celebration. You got the Latino celebrations, whether it's Puerto Rican Day at the beginning of June or Cinco de Mayo, or the other Independence Day, Mexican Independence Day from the French, and Cinco de Mayo, and then it's another Mexican Independence Day in September. We don't go around saying we help you celebrate. And at this point, we need to stop paying attention to what we do. The alarm has been rung. And guess what? I keep telling y'all, man. I keep telling y'all, stop telling me that that group of people don't like us. Yes, who cares if you've had some poor interaction? Guess what? I've had some poor interaction with some black people from the north side of Chicago, the south side of Chicago, the west side of Chicago, and the east side of Chicago. Said I not like black people? No, that's asinine. And when someone presents an idea like this to you, how about this? Don't tell that person what's wrong with their idea. How about that? See, that'll never work. Based on what? See, we have to get out of this mentality of, hey man, that's not gonna work. People will never do that, because at that point it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will never, ever succeed if you tell yourself before you start it's not going to work. So why are we killing ourselves before we can even get started? Oh, that's not going to work. People will never do that. Based on what? How many people have you organized? How many tens of thousands of people have you organized and then it failed? More, if any, not many people have done that. And if you do it, maybe it will work, maybe it won't. But it's not unattainable because you said it wouldn't work. This is what people are dealing with, black fatigue, because most people are as to quote the great Chuck D, screenagers. Remember, it used to be a saying, you can't believe half the stuff you see and nothing you hear. At this point, you can't believe nothing you see and half the things you hear, because they told you, we are lazy, we're this, we're that. Well, I'll tell you what, for the people who are suffering from black fatigue, don't ask us to come out to the rallies when you realize that we're right. And for us, if we have black fatigue, stop looking at the gumbo that you sit in. Get out of the barrel, crab, and look around and explore. Realize go to YouTube and look at the nature channels and things of that nature. When they show you the waters of the ocean and the floors of the ocean, you don't see crabs walking around attacking each other. They're living peacefully. The problem is you're not supposed to live in a barrel. You have black fatigue. If the first thing that you think of when someone speaks about unity, power, and pride, that isn't gonna happen. You are fatigued of your own essence. We can no longer live in that fishbowl. No, don't allow someone to tell you who and what you are at any point in time in your life. We can no longer allow ourselves to be so. Hey man, this is never gonna happen, because if you can check the history and go back to 19 this or 18 and 19 this and my cousin did this, and back in the day, if you can do that, why don't you just go back 100 years and you see what black people created towns, black people became millionaires. As a matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is show you this video right now and show you why, if you just get outside of that fishbowl that you're living in, you'll realize that, hey, you've been led astray. You've been duped. You've been fooled by propagandized news, and you don't need to suffer from black fatigue, because when we come together and not listen to the outside noise, when we step outside that barrel, this is what we're capable of. I'll be back shortly. you'll see this, and then hopefully it encourage you to not believe anything that somebody tells you about who you are.
I'm in Los Angeles when Black success wasn't just possible. It was happening out loud, in full view. This wasn't some abstract idea or small cluster of hopeful entrepreneurs. We're talking about a real, thriving, and powerful community of Black business owners, doctors, entertainers, and working families who had carved out a space where they could live, grow, and succeed despite the odds. This part of LA was often referred to as the West Coast Harlem, or LA's Black Wall Street, and it earned that name. It had everything: banks, hospitals, newspapers, nightclubs, insurance companies, churches, schools, all Black-owned and community-centered. But if you've never heard of it before, that's not an accident. The history books didn't just forget it. The city, the state, and the systems in power worked actively to erase it. Because what happened to this community wasn't just neglect, it was sabotage. To understand how this all started, you have to go back to the early 1900s. Back then, Los Angeles was marketed as a kind of
Now, as you see, how many people knew about that? How many? You hear about the Black Wall Street in Tulsa. You hear about Wilmington, North Carolina. You will hear about Peoria, Illinois, if you're from these places. You hear about these things. How many people knew it was happening in LA? You know, LA was the apple of the eye of the United States of America. It represented hope. And we went out there and found that hope and accomplished those things. Thank you, Alfred. Yeah, Alfred back, y'all. Pay dispute. You know how I go. But anyway, these things were happening in Los Angeles. So as you see, and if you want to watch that video in its entirety after the show, I will put it up on www.theendofthebench.com. Make sure you can check that out, because it's important that we understand, if we are left to our own devices and we don't allow ourselves to get in our own way, we can capture the American dream via and kente cloth. We don't need to have it in red, white, and blue. We can have it in green, black, and red. See, we have to step out of the way of Black fatigue and understand that we don't need anyone. Largest group of people on the face of the earth, largest community in the United States of America. And if we start incorporating our brothers from the continent, if we start incorporating our brothers from the Caribbean, and including with the brothers and sisters here, we will be all powerful. There will be no questioning us. There will be no stopping us. And see, I really, you know what, believe it or not, y'all, even though the stuff that I'm saying is serious, I really appreciate when you guys engage like that, because it doesn't have to be exclusively a dissertation. It can be a conversation. I would prefer it to be a conversation, but we don't have to suffer the ills of anybody's perception of who we are. Are there gang members in our community? Indeed, they are. Are there people who are addicted to substances in our community? Indeed, they are. Are there people who will swindle you clean out the drawers on your behind? Indeed, there are. But that only represents 5% of the people in our community, or less. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. I am a criminal justice major. My degree is in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's of science in criminal justice. Now, I haven't looked these numbers up in a very long, since 2013, so that's 11 years. But I doubt if they've changed that much in 11 years, because they didn't change that much over a 35 to 40-year period. 1977, 9.3% of the population in America, not just the Black community, 9.3% of the population was addicted to and using illicit drugs, street-level drugs. The last time I checked was 2013. 9.7% of the population was doing it then. So again, this goes back to your fishbowl. If you only swim around your fishbowl, you have the perception of, this is crazy. If you use the very mass media machine that if in your private moments with your friends, you'll sit around and say, hey man, hey, that ain't real. They just trying to make us look bad. And then you will quote that same source. That, for one, that's insane. And secondly, why would you do that? Why, if you know that they're set up to make you look bad, don't say, and then he made me look bad, but look at what he said about me and then live by it. Of course, again, if you live in urban, unserved areas where it's a lot of destitute people, well, I'm not even gonna call them destitute, underserved people who are living under the poverty level, who are striving to be better, of course you're gonna see more of it, because lack of opportunity breeds contempt. Contempt breeds criminality. That's just the way the world works. The number one place of murder on the planet Earth is Rio de Janeiro. If you go to Rio, you see dirty water, you see poor conditions, and that is designed by the people who created this situation we live in now. So you're not some hard case by being Black and living in an underserved community and being underpaid. That is the way the system is designed. We don't need you to have hope. We don't need you to tell your friends, even though shameless plug, we don't need you to tell your friends, hey, check out HRap, because stuff he's saying, I don't agree with it all, but it makes sense. And then now you got 10,000, 100,000. Now you want to sell a t-shirt. You reach out to me and say, hey, man, check out this t-shirt. Freedom is this. And then you put it up here, and then 100,000 people come buy your t-shirt. Now you independent. They don't want that. They need you to sit in your place and never move back. And that's why that's why they bring up everybody. When you say the people that's the crime in Chicago, don't nobody think about white people committing crime. But guess what? We have a gigantic Asian community in Chicago. The mafia, the organized crime and that they call mafia, they're here. You got other entities. Guess what? There's a large Ukraine. We have a Ukraine village. That means Russian. That means the Russian mafia here. I want you to understand, when I was pursuing my degree, one of the first things my professor asked was, who are the two biggest crime organizations in the world? The answers was the Russian mafia and the Asian mafia. But we don't think about that when we think about crime. We think, oh, Black on Black crime. We don't even gonna worry about that. No, because if Black on Black crime is such a horrendous thing, what are you comparing it to? I can't say I can't look at my girlfriend, go blind, and say my girlfriend the prettiest girl in the world. Have you ever seen another woman? No, but I know my girl is, no, she's the prettiest girl in the world to you, but that does not mean that's your truth. That is not the truth. And the truth is this: if we were redlined and herded into certain areas, terrorized and tortured, look up the term Pavlov's dog. Pavlov's dog is when they ran. Thank you very much, Poe. When you herd a certain amount of people or animals into an area, and then you torture them and terrorize them, they won't go past this. If you say, hey, if you go past this, you'll get shot by the police. If you go past this, you'll be shot by other Black people. If you go past this, you will miss out on opportunities. You will box in that individual. Once you box them in mentally, they're boxed in physically. So what I want you to understand is we can no longer listen to other people. Back to the Black on Black crime statistic. 92% of Black people hurt other Black people. True indeed. That is not a lie. That is true. 89% of white people hurt white people. And I would argue it's even higher in the Asian community. You know why? Because I live in a very segregated city. And the people who are in Chinatown, they usually operate amongst each other. The people in Little Asia, Little Korea on the north side of Chicago, they're doing the same. People in Black communities, they stay around each other. There was a study in the Washington Post, I think it was 2017. White people openly admit they self-segregate 75%. 75% of white people don't have a relationship with someone outside of their community. Damn. So if you just look at it this way, academically, if me and you in the class and I got a 92 on the test and you got an 89 on the test, both of us get a B. And when you're talking about community inflicted violence, that's a horrible grade to get. You need to be trying to get an F on that grade. It's like golf. The lower your score, the better you are. But if you notice, 92, 89, it ain't even enough to brag about. It's not enough to brag about, but I want you to factor this in. When you are Black, you are herded into specific areas. It's called redlining. Look it up. Redlining. You can't leave out of this area. We're not going to insure your home outside of this area. So of course, and then you think the projects, it was designed. No, the projects were designed for the Italians and the Polish people to build those skyscrapers in your town and then you will ship double over there. And then they gave it to us, and then they reduced the conditions because, yeah, newsflash, at one point the projects was a nice place to live when they were servicing them and taking care of them. So when we look at each other and say, see, that's your problem. No, here's the problem. Here's the problem. You need to start listening to the people who are trying to destroy you mentally, physically, and spiritually. The problem is this. I'm not going to tell you to do the exact same thing I say all the time. We need to support black men. We need to go to black movies. We need to stop. We need to do this. We need to do this. If you have a problem with somebody in the community, make that your problem. Guess what? If someone stole from you, you don't have to kill them, because you know what? If you steal $50 from me, that's $150. That's a $50 lesson to leave you alone. I don't have to hate you. I don't have to want to destroy you. I'm just going to put distance between us. I may even do business with you in another instance, but I won't trust you the way I used to. How many of us speak just to speak? And when you open a door, someone will say thank you. No worries. It didn't hurt you. What you did is you put positive energy into the universe. We have to reinstitute that soul brother mentality from the 70s. Everybody loved those 70s parties with the bell bottoms and the colorful shirts and the afros. But you know what what happened in the 70s? And I wasn't in any other town in the 70s but Jackson, Mississippi, and Chicago, Illinois. I was in my developmental years, 0 to 10th to 9. But what I want you to understand is this. We spoke to each other in the 70s. We shot with each other in the 70s. We hung out with each other in the 70s. We strived in the 70s. That was the last decade, if you ask me, that unity in the community was paramount. But after the 70s, around 75, we started wanting to go to Studio 54. We started wanting to go to other entities. So, because I have the right, you also have the right to set up a family meal at least once every 4 months. Even with that cousin that you can't stand. Because you know what? If someone hurt that cousin you can't stand, that I can't stand you, not you. You can't hurt him. That this will induce the protection of the ladies in our community. And you protect the ladies. What are the ladies not innately going to do? They're going to protect those children. So if you protect the ladies and the sisters in the community, they're going to protect the children. So it's a trickle-down effect. Your elders take care of you. You take care of the ladies take care of the children, and we're all safe. Another thing, we have to stop allowing them to dictate what we do. I mentioned earlier in the program about how some people don't like to celebrate Juneteenth, but you don't have no problem saying, "What up, my nigga?" But you don't want to celebrate something that we created to celebrate us, but you will celebrate the N-word. That's stinking thinking. That's stinking thinking. We can no longer do these things, y'all. I was going to do this show yesterday, but I didn't because I got busy. But what I want us to understand is this. We don't have to pay attention to everybody else. If you minding your business, which is black business, you ain't got time to pay attention to nobody else. You know, people are so busy rubbing it in our face that we shorten the gap and about to pass them. And if we stop listening to others and stop paying attention to their media and stop paying attention to our media. I don't like Roland Martin. All you have to do is get the information from Roland Martin. I ain't too crazy about him either. He put out some good information. I watch. I pay attention. I chew up the meat, spit out the bones. I learned that from my elder. His name is Joe the Black Eagle Madison. Rest in peace to Joe Madison. But we have to put it where the goats can get it. We have to put it out there. And then guess what? Everybody ain't gonna do it. If you're religious, if you're a Christian, according to your scripture, your religion was started by 13 people, Jesus and 12 more people. Now, Peter and those names, no. But that's another conversation. But now it's the largest religion on the face of the earth. Muhammad and his group, they were started by one person. So this is the reason I'm bringing this up is if they could start two of the largest sects of religions in the history of the world with a few people, All you have to do is start respecting each other, treating each other with some respect, and attempting to be cordial. You only have to be polite. Don't mistake politeness and being a civilized human being for friendship and love. I just need to respect you. And if you respect everybody, then all of a sudden the sun starts coming out a little more. Before I close out, I want to say this. The President of the United States wants to shut down Juneteenth. Thank you. That, again, I'm going to say this before I go any further. I think Donald Trump is the greatest gift that God ever gave to Black people if we use it properly. Donald Trump is metaphorically a gun. If you set a gun on the table, it won't bother nobody. It ain't going to kill nobody. It is not dangerous. If you set the bullets in the gun on the table, it's not going to bother. Now, if you misuse that gun, it'll kill somebody. Donald Trump is a gun. He is dangerous. But if we properly use the hate and the vitriol and the discriminatory practices, if we use that properly, he becomes something that protects us. How did he become something that protects us? His hate and anger will galvanize my people on this earth. Not just my people in the United States of America, not just my people in the Caribbean, my people on the continent, in South America, Canada, and wherever we are. If we use that hate and vitriol to galvanize us to realize, hey, as my man D Great, who in the chat room says, we all we got. Once we realize that, he will be that fool mess around and be something that we can celebrate. Thank you, you J.A., you Jag, for helping my people. But as I close out, I want to say this. This is just a suggestion. Some of us will do it, others won't. Going forward, since they don't want to decommission the Juneteenth holiday, thank you again. Because guess what? You ain't gonna get no Juneteenth t-shirts in Target, Walmart, nothing, because it ain't a thing anymore, right? Cool. And now Black vendors can make our own Juneteenth t-shirts and we can shop with Black vendors. See, you see how he can help? Well, we ain't doing this no more. It's too expensive. But guess what? Most of us have vacation time, sick time, and PTO. My suggestion is to my community is this. Everybody say they PTO until the Saturday after Father's Day for the rest of your life. At least one of those days, vacation or PTO day, like that Saturday, which will be today. Get together with your friends and family today. Your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your friends, your neighbors, and make a celebration in your community to celebrate us. It ain't got to be about emancipation. It got to be about moving. Make it a Sankofa celebration where we're going to look at the past to see why we are standing where we are and use that past and that present to navigate the future. Meaning, come together that Saturday after Father's Day, everybody, you'll have a communal cookout. Everybody come out and set the grills out, playing good music, and we're gonna have a people. Now you're gonna know who live next door to you. If you live in a high-rise building, you're gonna know who on the 15th floor, you live on the 5th floor. We get to know each other, we celebrate each other, we creating unity and peace in our community. And for the JA that's saying that will never happen, good. I'm not talking to you. Do not convince anybody that unity is possible, because guess what? It is possible. You don't have to convince. See, good, ain't nobody ever had to convince you to take $1 million. Ain't nobody ever had to convince you to take a hug from your loved ones. Ain't nobody ever had to get you to take some love from anybody. So if you create an environment that is filled with hugs, filled with love, filled with opportunities, you don't have to listen to the naysayers, because they're going to be there and they'll be sitting their asses on the outside of the rim saying, hey, what about me? Now I'm going over there with Massa and them, because that's what we did when we were on those death camps, when we created song to help you guide, when we created hairstyles to help guide you through the freedom, when we created legends and folklore to help you become free. That's what we have to do. We have to recreate that. We have to mentally and spiritually go back to 1855. 1855, and then say, you know what? Look what our people did in 1875, and then 1885, and then 1905, and 25, And when we get the spirit of we ain't got nobody but us back into our community, we will dominate. And then we start making connections overseas. And then we start making connections. We got people like Prime Minister Mariam Motley and Barbados. And she is doing things to help galvanize the United Nations of the Caribbean and things of that nature. That's what we do. That's how we get it done. Brick by brick. You cannot build a pyramid in one day. It takes brick, mortar, labor. The brick, the labor is us actually taking with the brick is our community. The mortar will galvanize our community, and before you know, we'll have a pyramid of success. With that being said, thank you for tapping in. If you haven't already, hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in. This is your man, Brian HRap Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. Thank you for tapping in. I see y'all in a few.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why